Hey traders, Raghee here, and many of you, like myself, we've been watching this morning sort of start off with a little bit of bullishness between the open and basically about 11:30, only to see as we go into the lunchtime doldrums on the East Coast right around noon, a pretty significant shift in the broader averages to the downside, and just it's been a fairly merciless move lower. So the question becomes, well, where is it that there is still support? Where is it that we still have an uptrend? And where can we, I don't want to say hide out, but kind of, where is the safety in a market that seems to be inundated with, number one, the persistent conversation about a quicker taper, which is quite literally the stuff of nightmares for a lot of stock traders. Because remember, money printing, asset purchases, keeping the lower end of the yield curve lower for longer, all that has and does feed the equity markets. But if we talk about truncating that period of time where we taper, say, slowly, to maybe tapering now more aggressively, that also brings the idea of rate hikes closer into view. It's coming into focus, and clearly we can see across the board the equities don't like that. Equity markets don't like that. Now, that's not a news flash. Is this a taper tantrum? It's really not. What we're dealing with, because you can see it probably mostly in the NASDAQ and also in semiconductors. Why would we see the NAS in an environment where all the indices are getting hit so hard be the most resilient? We talked about this in previous videos. This is the pandemic playbook. Think about what stocks are going to be the most resilient in an environment like this. And really, not that they're up today, not by any stretch. But if you take a look at the NASDAQ futures or the QQQ, whichever version of the NASDAQ you prefer to watch, if you take a look at the XLK, which is Microsoft and Apple as the top weighted stocks. You take a look at the XLY. This has actually been pretty resilient, although I'll keep an eye on this one going forward, but pretty resilient. And you keep an eye on semiconductors, SMH, much like the XLK, looking really good. In many ways, a relative outperformer compared to the broader average. But these are the corners of the market that are going to be more resilient as we deal with what really the culprit is right now, which is this ongoing uncertainty about the COVID narrative. Crude oil typically sells off with this kind of news. The Dow will sell off with this kind of news, but it's going to be tech that will probably have to sell off as well, but it's going to maintain its trend a little bit better. This is where, for me, the focus has to get very much on tech, and then those sectors that I talked about, SMH, XLK, maybe even XLY. And then I think we see an interesting retest of the 200 propulsion. You can see my 200 propulsion and the 200 exponential. When the line and the dot are there, we've got something more powerful than just the line alone. And this is where we have propulsion and the exponential 200 period overlapping. We have a Darvis level in this area. This could be actually a really good spot to look at either IEF puts, long puts, or we might start setting up some ZN, maybe ZB. Now, I like ZN a little better, but ZN or ZB puts at the upper end of the zone. Remember, to short the futures contracts of the 10-year and the 30-year is to be bullish, be long the yield itself. All right. If yields are in play, well, we're going to talk about this in the premium video. Do I like the dollar to the long side? Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll talk about the zones that we want to buy dollars, and we'll talk about the zones that we want to short euro in the premium video. Both of those are actually starting to look like they're heading into the zone for us. So let's keep an eye on those. Let's remember what we're dealing with. It's been a pretty powerful 1-2 punch. A quicker taper, right? And then I think even more so than that, this new variant narrative. We can see when the news about the California variant and the news of California now having the first case of the variant. Look, this is going to move the market, right? Because this is where a lot of the psychology is landing. Healthcare has been, interestingly enough, very difficult to pinpoint as to why it necessarily has been as weak as it has. And it's really curious that XLF, the financials, would struggle in an environment where it seems that higher rates are pretty much a foregone conclusion. And yet, both of these are down. And we have to pay attention to what I think is really a screwy way the market, I know that's a technical term, right? Kind of a screwy nature of the market. Why would we care as futures traders about those two sectors? Because they're going to land smack dab on the ES. So let's keep the ES and the Dow on the back burner. Let's focus on the NASDAQ. Take a look at some of those yields. Definitely look at some long dollar. And that's what we'll kind of kick off December with. All right. Hope that helps. I really want to give everyone a good watch list and a game plan as we're really navigating some very tricky waters. If you have questions, feel free to leave them below. They'll probably make their way into an upcoming video here. And if you want your questions answered live each and every morning for members and non-members, we go live on the Simpler Trading YouTube channel for charts and coffee. Come over and caffeinate and dominate each morning, 20 minutes, 9 to 9:20, 20 minutes of Q&A. Hope to see you there, and I'll see you all in the next update. Hey traders, Raghee from Simpler Trading. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to leave a like and a comment below. And remember, subscribe and click the bell icon so you'll get notified of the next update. And when you're ready to join me for live trading, be sure to head on over to simplertrading.com. I'll see you in the next update.